The rain hit the windows of Blackridge Manor like a warning. Inside, everything was too still, too controlled, too perfect. A contract lay on the table between them, ink drying on paper that had already changed 2 lives. Elena Hart stood with her hands clenched tightly behind her back. Her expression was calm, but her eyes betrayed her. Across from her sat Damien Blackwood, cold, composed, unreadable. A man the newspapers called the man who never loses. And tonight, he had agreed to something no one ever thought he would. A fake marriage. The deal. "It's only for 1 year," Elena said quietly. Her voice didn't shake. It couldn't. Not here. Not in front of him. Damien didn't look up from the contract. 1 year, he repeated. His tone made it sound like a business merger, not a marriage. "Yes," Elena confirmed. "Your enemies stop targeting your inheritance. My family gets out of debt. After that, we separate cleanly." Silence stretched between them. Then he signed. No hesitation. No emotion. Just ink on paper. Elena exhaled slowly, trying not to show how much that one signature unsettled her, because she wasn't supposed to feel anything. This was fake. Strictly business. Nothing more. Damien stood. "Move into the East Wing tomorrow," he said. "That's unnecessary," she replied quickly. "We agreed." "You are my wife in public," he interrupted. "We maintain appearances." His eyes finally met hers. Cold gray. Sharp enough to cut through lies. "Do not forget the rules, Mrs. Blackwood." And just like that, he walked out. The first night, the East Wing was too large, too quiet. Elena sat on the edge of the bed, staring at her wedding ring. Fake marriage. Fake life. Fake everything. She repeated it in her mind like a mantra. But when she closed her eyes, she still saw the moment Damien slipped the ring onto her finger earlier that day. His touch hadn't been warm, but it hadn't been careless either. That confused her more than anything. Down the hall, Damien stood alone in his study. He loosened his tie, then stopped. For a reason he couldn't explain, his mind kept returning to her face. Not her usefulness, not the contract, just her expression when she thought he wasn't looking, like she was already preparing for something painful. He frowned. Annoying. He had made deals with dangerous men. He had crushed corporations. He had never once thought about a contract partner after signing. Yet tonight, he couldn't sleep. Public marriage begins. By morning, the news exploded. Damien Blackwood secretly marries unknown woman. Photographers swarmed the manor gates. Reporters shouted questions. Elena froze when Damien suddenly appeared beside her at the entrance. His hand closed around hers. Firm. Controlled. "Smile," he said quietly. "I don't know how," she whispered back. For a fraction of a second, something flickered in his eyes. But it was gone immediately. Learn. Then he led her outside. Flashes exploded. Questions screamed. And Damien Blackwood, the man who never tolerated touch, never tolerated closeness, stood beside her like she belonged there. Like she mattered. Elena didn't understand it, but she felt it. Something changes. Days passed. Then weeks. The rules were simple. No emotional attachment. No interference. No expectations. But reality didn't obey rules. Because Damien started noticing things. How she always thanked the staff. How she never raised her voice. How she read at night by the window when she thought no one saw her. And most dangerous of all, how she never asked him for anything. Not once. That was new. Everyone always wanted something from him. But Elena, she acted like survival was normal. Like kindness cost something. Like she had learned not to expect it back. And Damien found himself watching her more than he should. The first crack. One night, a business gala was held in the city. Elena attended as his wife. Diamonds, cameras, aristocrats. All eyes on her. And then someone laughed. "She looks like she doesn't belong here," a woman whispered loudly. Elena heard it. She didn't react. But Damien did. He stopped mid-conversation, turned, and the entire room felt the temperature drop. He walked across the hall, each step silent, intentional. Then he stopped in front of the woman who laughed. "Repeat what you said," he said calmly. The woman smiled nervously. "I was just—" "Repeat it." Silence fell. Elena watched from across the room, confused. This wasn't part of the contract. Damien didn't defend appearances. He protected assets, not people. The woman stammered. "I didn't mean—" "Apologize," he said. Cold. Final. And she did. Immediately. When Damien returned, Elena stared at him. "You didn't have to do that," she said softly. He adjusted his cuff. "I did." "Why?" "A pause. Long enough to feel dangerous." "Because you are my wife," he said. Then he walked away. But something inside Elena shifted, because he said it like it meant something. The problem called feelings. Damien started losing control of small things. He noticed when she wasn't in the room. He stopped delegating conversations she was part of. He delayed meetings just to eat dinner at the same time. He told himself it was strategy, public image, consistency. But his staff noticed. His closest advisor finally asked him, "Sir, are you aware you've been canceling meetings just to have dinner at home?" Damien didn't look up. "Yes." "That's not like you." "I'm aware." No further explanation. Because he didn't have one. Meanwhile, Elena started noticing too. The way he always positioned himself between her and crowds. The way he walked slower when she was tired. The way he stopped speaking mid-sentence when she entered a room. But the most confusing thing was the way he looked at her when he thought she wasn't paying attention. Like he was trying to solve something. Like she was a question he didn't expect to matter. The accident. Everything changed the night of the storm. A car crash. Flashing lights. Rain drowning the streets. Elena had gone out alone. Damien found out late. And for the first time, he lost control. He didn't wait for security. He drove himself. Fast. Too fast. When he arrived, he saw her on the sidewalk. Alive, but shaken. And something inside him broke. He stepped out of the car and walked straight to her. "Elena." Her head lifted. "I'm fine," she said quickly. But he wasn't listening. His hand reached her arm, then her shoulder. Checking. Confirming. Real. Then suddenly, he pulled her into him. Hard. Too hard. Like he was afraid she would disappear if he didn't hold her tightly enough. Elena froze. "Damien?" He didn't answer. For the first time since they met, he looked shaken. "You don't leave alone," he said quietly. "That wasn't part of the contract." "I don't care." Silence. Rain falling around them. Then softer. "Don't do that again." And Elena realized something terrifying. This wasn't fake anymore. For him, it never had been. The truth slips out. That night, Damien didn't sleep. He stood in his office long after she went upstairs. He stared at the contract. The 1-year agreement. The words felt meaningless now, because something had changed without permission. And Damien Blackwood did not lose control. But he had already lost this. Quiet footsteps. Elena appeared in the doorway. "You're still working," she said. He didn't turn. "You should rest." "I couldn't sleep." Silence. Then, "Why did you really agree to this marriage?" she asked softly. A pause. Dangerous. Because the truth was no longer strategic. It was personal. And Damien wasn't prepared for that. But for the first time, he answered honestly. "Because I needed a distraction." Elena stiffened. A predictable answer. Painful, but expected. But then he continued. "And because I thought it would be temporary." And now, Damien finally turned. His expression unreadable, but his voice lower. "I'm not sure I remember how to end it. The moment everything breaks." 3 months later, the contract ended. Legally. Elena packed her things. Quietly. No drama. New argument. She stood at the door of the manor, waiting for a goodbye that would match what they had been. Cold. Simple. Finale. Damien arrived late. He saw the suitcase. Then here. "You're leaving." It wasn't a question. "Yes," she said softly. Silence. Too long. Then, "You don't have to." Elena blinked. That wasn't the agreement. I know. Another pause. His hand tightened slightly. For the first time, he looked unsure. Then, quietly, I forgot it was fake. Silence shattered everything. Elena's breath caught. What? Damien stepped closer, his voice lower now. Somewhere along the way, I stopped remembering it was supposed to be temporary. Her heart pounded. You don't mean that. I do. A beat. Then the shock that changed everything. I never treated you like a contract, Elena. He paused, and for the first time, his voice softened. I treated you like something I was afraid to lose. What he did shocked everyone. Days later, the world learned the truth. Damien Blackwood annulled the contract, not because it expired, but because he refused to let it define her. He erased every clause that reduced her to a temporary arrangement. Then he did something no one expected. He publicly announced, I am not divorcing my wife. I am choosing her. And when reporters asked why, he answered simply, because I forgot it was fake, and I never want it to be. Elena stood beside him during the announcement, silent, stunned, because this wasn't the man she signed a contract with. This was something else entirely. Something real. Something irreversible. Ending. That night, when they returned home, Elena finally asked, was any of it real for you? Damien looked at her for a long time, then stepped closer, gently this time, and answered, not at first. Her breath caught, but now, his hand brushed hers. Careful, certain. Now, he said quietly, everything is. And for the first time since the contract began, Elena believed it too.